Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Albuquerque Aliens Draft to Glory franchise mode here in NHL 25. So, in last episode, we had the Year 3 draft, and we're getting ready to start up another season, and I'm pretty excited just because I think this team is starting to take form a little bit. We obviously drafted another solid player in Mr. Matej Kolars for our top line, so our top line is starting to come together. Obviously, we're also getting some good growth from some of our guys on the roster, like Kapaduka's up to a 70. We recently drafted Tulipov, who's a 65. So the depth is starting to get better on this team. We have basically almost a full four group, and our defensive core is full on players that we've drafted. The defensive core definitely looks a lot stronger than it has in the past because obviously Tuzolino, hopefully he has a fully healthy season ahead because I did turn off injuries, I think, if I remember right. And then we also have Trevelyan and Arena who are both above a 70. So I think this defensive core should be better, obviously, than in years past. And then our goaltending is also developing in the right ways. So on paper, our roster should hopefully do better than the last few seasons. Obviously, it could still do pretty bad, but I think we should be able to at least hit 5 regulation wins this season and maybe even closer to 10, depending on if this game wants to give us a chance. Now, we do also have some guys in the AHL at the moment, so guys like Zetterberg, who's a prospect of ours, he's going to be playing in the AHL, hopefully getting some good growth, even though he's only a low top 9. We also do have some more defensive prospects like Fair, Whitfield, David, Volk, and Trainer. So there's a lot of defensemen in the minors, and also 2 goaltenders. So hopefully a lot of those guys start to develop as the season goes on as well, because obviously it would just give us more depth for the following seasons. But anyways, before we get into simulating this season and seeing how this team actually does, let's get into your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say about last episode. And then we'll probably do our regular season goals, which I might honestly cut out of the video because you guys didn't want to really see any of that. And then we'll actually start up the Year 4 season simulation. So the first comment is from Michael Dose, who says, check Tulipov's documents coming into this country as he is not 18, LOL. And it's funny because basically Tulipov, who we drafted, he is an 18-year-old. However, he looks like he could probably pass for being like maybe in his 50s or 60s because he's got a lot of gray hair, which is kind of funny. Like, I'll show you guys what he looks like again, just in case you guys forgot, because he is kind of funny looking for an 18-year-old. But I'm hoping he has a good year ahead because he's a 65 top 6. He could potentially be a nice potential top like second line center, maybe a third line center of the future. But yeah, he definitely doesn't look like an 18-year-old with his hair. As you can see, he just doesn't pass for an 18-year-old. Unless he dyed his hair that way, I just don't see him being an 18-year-old. But hopefully he has a good season ahead for us, like I said, and get some good growth because he could be like a very useful piece for us in terms of our depth down the middle. The next comment is from Sandro Nataku, who says, Blomstrand would have been a perfect pick as you need an elite goal scorer. At least you were able to potentially have one good steal in there. And yeah, it really sucks that we didn't get that low lead Blomstrand because there was 2 low leads in that second round, I think it was. And or maybe it was late first round. I honestly don't remember. No, I think it was early second. And we didn't have them scouted, so I honestly had no idea they were low lead, or else I probably would have drafted Blomstrand at least. But both of them look like they're going to be really good players, which is unfortunate for us. But hopefully in the next few drafts, we could find some good late round low leads to make up for it at least. The next comment is from Joseph D. Miller, who says, maybe you could switch the first 2 picks positions since one is a left wing with good face-offs, the other is a center with poor face-offs. And that might be something we'd look into doing. Obviously, it would be nice to have these guys grow in their natural positions, so to speak. But obviously, if for some reason they're not doing too good, maybe we could get them to change. Because Tulipov, who is the center he is referring to, you can see he has a 69 on faceoffs, which is not really the greatest. It's not terrible by any stretch because you can see forwards sometimes with like 60 faceoffs. But he is definitely not the best at center. So maybe getting him on the left side would be better than down the middle. We could always try that. And then there's also Kolars, who is currently playing on our top line. That's why I want to keep him as a left winger for now, is because he's a top line guy. However, he is a playmaker, so that would be good to have down the middle. He's also got good faceoffs at 76, so he could end up being a centerman more than a left winger. So we might change the 2 of them, but I'm not too sure just yet because I do want to get production on that top line. So having him with Ristolainen and Stelbitz might be good for his growth and for the future of this team as well. In the last and final comment is from Nick Bucker, Barons OC, who says, gotta be honest, I would have went with the 2-way defenseman. Harder to find demon than forwards who play at a top level, but really it was a win-win. Both guys are great. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I prefer the forward purposely just because of the fact if we would have brought in Peltier or whatever his name was, he basically would have probably, I mean, he could have probably fit into this top 4 nicely. But at the same time, for now, our defensive core isn't super, super weak. Obviously, our forward group is more where we need prospects in. So, obviously, down the road, we will add more elite defenders. But for right now, I want to see if guys like Narena and Trevelyan, if they could outgrow their potential and actually play at a good level, that they might actually help us win games. So, I want them to continue developing, and that's why I didn't bring in somebody like Peltier and why I decided to go with Kolars instead with our first pick. So, anyways, there is that. So I think what I'm going to do now is do some regular season goals, and I'll give you guys a little bit of an update on what goals I gave out to players, and then we'll get into simulating year number 4. So I will see you guys in a second. Okay, guys, so I gave all the goals out to the NHL players. I'm not doing the AHL just because the AHL doesn't have anybody super important at the moment, but I basically gave guys like Ristolainen a face-off one, obviously because we want him to be good at face-offs. Stelbitz, I gave him a short-term goal of achieving, I forget how much goals, but at least for the halfway part of the season to try and get, I think it was 15 or 20 goals. Tuzolino and stuff like that, obviously I have long-term goals with assists. Same with Kolars in his first season. I tried to see if he could get 30 assists in his first season because he is playing with some good players, getting power play time, that type of thing. And Reina also has an assist goal. Same with Bogosian, same with Trevelyan. I also gave a short-term goal to Capaduca because of the fact he didn't really score a lot last season. So he only has to score, I think it was 10 goals in the first half of the season, which should be doable considering he's playing top 6 minutes. So hopefully he could do that. Everybody else, a lot of them were goal-related for goals. Some of them are block shots like Parks, for instance. But basically that is what I tried to get for this team. So I don't know if everybody's going to achieve their goals, but at least we gave them some idea of what they could try and achieve. So hopefully they could do it. And I think we're pretty much ready to get into simulating now, if I'm not mistaken. Just got to make sure there's nothing else I want to do. No, I don't think so. All right, let's get into this calendar and see how much games we win this season. We'll go to the halfway point in the season just because obviously the halfway stretch goals that we gave. And that way we could also see how our team's doing at that point. So, head coach, obviously I know our team is not going to be good this season. Yeah, there's a lot of work still to do, I know. We're not going to make the playoffs anytime soon. But I hope that at least we could get 5+ wins this season. Hopefully 10+, but I don't know if our team's good enough at that stage yet. But I think with injuries being off, that should help us a little bit. But I'm not too sure by how much. Because obviously having a full season of Tuzolino should give us our better offense that we've never had before, because our offense has been good at times, but other times obviously it hasn't. It dropped off a lot after we lost Tuzolino due to injury last season, so I think without injuries on, we should be able to hypothetically score more goals this coming season. But we go 2-6 in the preseason, which obviously is not good, but in terms of points, Ristolainen had 7 points in those 8 games, which is not too bad. We weren't the worst offensive team in the preseason. That's kind of interesting. Also, our power play and PK weren't the worst too, so that's kind of nice to see. So hopefully that continues into the regular season. So will this team be able to have its best season yet? Last year, I think, how much wins did we have last year? I think it was like 4 wins, but I know we had points in at least like 8 of our games or something like that. I honestly don't remember how much points we had, but I think we should hopefully do better than last year, even though last year was definitely the best year we had, even though there was tons of injuries last season. Let's go to January the 1st, though, and see how we do in our first run of the season. Off to not a good start offensively and defensively, which makes sense. We're going to have these games still early, but just hoping for at least maybe a couple wins by the halfway point of the year, because that will at least show that stuff is going in the right direction for this team. Let's see, 0-5. We're allowing like 5 goals plus a game right now. That's our best defensive game yet. We beat Columbus in a shutout. Okay, that's our first ever shutout, I think, in franchise history. So I got to see who was in net for that game. 3-0 win over Columbus. Columbus is off to a bad start as well, so who knows if we're going to be the worst team in the league this season. But we got a shutout. Let's freaking go. I got to take a look at the box score on that game because that's a historic first shutout, I think, for this team in franchise history. So who was in net for that game? Was it Tamerlan or was it Shipley? Where is that game? Trying to find it. Man, it's so hard to find the game you're looking for, I feel like, on the screen sometimes. We're Central Division, right? 7-1 loss, 3-1 loss. Where is our game? Should be somewhere around here, right? I think it was closer to the end of the month, right? Oh, there it is. Let's take a look at the box score in that game. So Tuzolino scored his third goal of the season already at that point. So Tuzolino might have to be a great start. And Ristolainen's already on 6 goals apparently. So we might be getting some really good offense from our top guys this year based on that. But who was in net for the shutout? It was Tamerlan. Tamerlan, the Tower, has picked up the first shutout in franchise history, I think. So that's pretty awesome. Ristolainen had 2 goals and Tuzolino with a third star. But what an effort from Tamerlan. That's actually really nice to see because I did give Tamerlan a goal of getting a 910 save percentage at least by the halfway point of the season. I also gave Shipley a goal of the entire season at 910 save percentage. I don't think they're going to reach that because obviously we're a bad team, but I still wanted to try and shoot for the stars, so to speak, with this team. All right. A lot of people going on waivers early this season, seems like. Hey, there's another shutout win. Okay, we have 2 shutouts already. That's a shutout over Washington. I don't know who was in net for that one. But I think I want to stop the simulation again. I know it's going to make this episode a little bit longer, but 2 shutouts in this season, both of our wins have been shutout wins. That's really impressive. All right. If you told me that our team was going to have 2 shutouts this season, I was going to be like, hell no. But that is really nice to see. We lost also 4-3 to Minnesota, so that was a close game. Let's see, go back to October. Was it in October that shutout win? Where is that other shutout? Or was I just blind before? Probably I was just blind before, right? I wish I could just see specific teams on this, but can't. Let's see. Where is our other shutout? I'm just not used to us shutting out teams. It doesn't even show us here. I don't even know which game. I am confused. I don't even know where it is. But we got another shutout, so let's just continue simulating. We'll probably find out at the end of the season anyways who had that shutout because of the stats, but so far, I am impressed that we've been able to pick up 2 shutouts. Because at least that shows our team has promise in the future for defense, unless it's just been the goaltending that's helped. But let's see if we could get any more wins in this first half of the season, because 2 wins already is a nice thing to see. We lost in overtime there to the Islanders 6-5, so that's a pretty close game. We do get our third point, our game with a point at least this season, so that's good. Yeah, I think this year is definitely going to be better than prior years in terms of offense, at least for sure. And maybe defense, too, considering we have 2 shutouts. Can we get any more points before the halfway point of the season? There's a win over Pittsburgh, 4-3. Nice. So we already have 3 wins on the year. That's positive. We lose to Edmonton 6-1. We still got 1 more month of simulation before we're at the halfway point. Around 6 goals we scored on Chicago. That's good to see. Our offense was good in that game. All right. 3-2 win over Florida, so we beat Florida for the second time in franchise history. We also shut out Buffalo. That is our 3rd shutout of the season. I don't know how we're shutting out teams, but I'm not going to complain. 5 wins on the season, 6 wins. This is already our best season in franchise history. Let's go. The team is off to a good start. 6-27-1. Only a few more games left of 2027. Can we get any more ones? Let's see. Tampa, 8-2 loss. Winnipeg is a 2-0 win, so another shutout win. We've had 4 shutouts in our 8 games where we've had a point. I don't even know how to explain it really, but 7-30-1 at the halfway point round of the season. That's freaking good. That's freaking good. I would take a look at player stats already and stuff like that, but I almost want to wait till the end of the season and take a look at that. But the fact that we're able to shut out the Jets, who are like 500, that's really impressive. So I don't know which goalie's picking up all these shutouts, but whoever it is doing their job, and that's really great to see. Let's go to the February 28th and see where we're at that stage, but this is definitely our best season already. And that's why injuries being off is probably good for the early stages, at least, of this franchise mode. 6-5 win over Calgary. That's 8 wins. We could hit double-digit wins for the first time in franchise history if we continue like this. Will we hit 10 wins this year? That's the goal, I guess. We lost in overtime there, so that's at least 10 games with a point. So that's a positive. But I do want 10 regulation wins if we can, or wins in general, I should say. Game against the Islanders coming up. We did beat them before, but we lose to them there. Dallas, we lose that one in a close game, though, 6-4. Carolina, we lose 7-3. Colorado, can we beat them? No, we cannot. Ottawa? No, we cannot. Yeah, we're on a little bit of a rough stretch now. I'm just hoping for 10 wins. If we could get 2 more, that would be great. Like, it was definitely a better first half of the season, I would say, so far up to this point in time. Yeah, we're definitely on a long losing streak now. Oh, well. I just want to get 10 wins. Hey, there's win number 9 as we beat the Blackhawks 4-3, and then we lose in overtime to the Flyers. Game against Florida, we lose 7-1. Canucks, we lose 8-1. Buffalo, 6-2 loss. How about Nashville? There it is. There's our 10th win of the season. We've hit 10 wins for the first time in franchise history in a year. That's positive. And we get our 11th win as well over the Devils. So 11-50-3 a day before the deadline. Obviously, still probably in last place. Yeah, last place with 25 points. The next worst team is the Ducks with 39. We're not really that far off of them in that sense, but still, we're definitely going to probably still finish dead last, but I think this team is eventually going to not finish dead last. Like, probably in the next 1 to 2 seasons, we might be like the second or third worst team instead, which is not bad. All right, we're going to bypass the trade deadline, but I will take a look at any trades that happened around the league, just because might as well. But I do not really want to look at my player stats, so that's the only thing. But I still do want to take a look at trades, just because you guys might want to see what happened. All right, let's go like this quickly and not look at stats. I know it's going to show stats quickly. I'm not going to look at them with my own eyes. You guys can if you want to, but I do want to take a look at the trades that happened around the league. Philip Gustafson going to Columbus. Anything else crazy? Jack Drury to Vancouver. Borgen to Carolina. Broberg to Vegas. Nick Hague to St. Louis. Interesting. Colton Sissons to Carolina with Lafferty. Patrick Laine got dealt by Montreal to the Rangers. That's an interesting one. Marcus Pettersson to Toronto with Hakanpää. Jason Dickinson to the Islanders. Askarov got dealt to the Rangers as well for Cotter and Trouba. So I guess San Jose is good already. Just kind of weird. Jake Bean to the Islanders. Berggren to Toronto. Caden Gooley to Edmonton from Montreal. Or yeah, damn. Caden Gooley getting dealt already is kind of crazy. Freddie Anderson getting dealt to LA for Brant Clark. Wow, that's a crazy trade. So some pretty big trades for 2028. All right. I don't really want to look at player stats yet, but I already see that we already have a goalie with a below 5 goals against average, which is pretty damn crazy for this part of the year. To have less than 5 goals against, like the last 2 years, we've been allowing over 6 goals a game. So, damn, Shipley might be actually having a really good year. Let's continue to simulate and see if we can maybe hit even 15 wins this season. I doubt it, but let's see if we can get any more wins as the rest of the season goes on here. There's a win over St. Louis 2-1. Another good goaltending game. I'm really impressed that our defense and goaltending has been able to do this well with how it looks right now on paper. Hopefully some of these guys get good boosts and stuff this season. Can we get to 15 wins? Probably not at this stage unless we could get 3 in a row somehow. There's a win over Detroit, 6-5. Nice. Like that. So that's our 13th win of the season. We've had some close losses though too, so it's been a good year. It's been a good year for sure. Washington, 6-4 loss. See, that's pretty close still. Minnesota and LA, 2 home games. 8-1 loss and 2-1 shootout loss. At least we're having points in some of these games too. 17 games with a point this year. San Jose, 6-4 loss. Vegas, 7-1 loss. Yeah, I don't think we're going to hit 15, even though we only need 2 more wins. We lose that one only by 1 as well. But we are definitely in the right trajectory, it seems like. We have 3 road games to end off the season. Colorado, Ottawa, and Anaheim. Can we hit 15 wins? Probably not. Colorado, we'll lose 5-1. We got to win both these games if we want 15 wins. We lose that one, so we're not going to get 15 wins. And we wrap up the season 13-65-4. So that's definitely our best season by a large margin. Really good to see that. Now the real question is the standings and all that stuff. So if we flip on over to, not that. Actually, yeah, let's go to the just player stats and team stats here. Let's see where we finish in terms of all of our stats here. So in terms of the entire league, we're probably still dead last. Yep, dead last by 20 points. That's not too bad. But we are definitely developing quite nicely here over these last few years. Goals for per game. We're still the worst offensive team in the league. We only scored 2.18, but that's over 2 goals a game at least, so that's great. Goals against. We allowed 5.09, which obviously is a big step up. Last year, I think we allowed over 6 still. So our defensive play is improving. Offense is slowly improving too. I like it. Our power play percentage was not dead last. We were actually one of the better power play teams, I guess. Yeah, we're like mid-table on the power play. That's not bad. So our special teams are starting to get better. And in our penalty kill was one of the worst in the league. 74.3%. Yikes. It wasn't the worst. Columbus was bursting us, though. And we didn't have a single shorthanded goal. We had 9 wins on home ice, so shout out to our fans. And then 4 wins on the road. 0-9-1 in our last 10 games. All right. So there is that. Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't even take a look at that. Staubitz had 76 points, and our team only scored 2-something goals a game. Damn, our offense was definitely much better. So, first and foremost, Ristolainen has generated a gold X Factor, and unfortunately it's skilled up, which day I never used, but still 69 points for Ristolainen is fantastic. 24 power play points. So, Ristolainen having a big year here. Much better plus-minus department, too. Over 100 PIMs. Damn. How is his face-off percentage since I gave him that as a goal? 57%, so he once again is over 50% on face-offs. 200 hits. Wow. So Ristolainen is developing into a very interesting player. Good face-offs, good offense, good hitting, and solid takeaways. I don't mind that whatsoever. So there is Ristolainen and his abilities now. Liking the way he's developing quite a bit. We are going to need to give him an extension. So there is that. Bogosian, I gave him an assist goal, and I don't remember how much assist it was. It might have been 30 assists, but he does get 24. 33 points. That's not a bad year for Bogosian. Also better plus-minus, too. Definitely a big step up. Last year, he had 33 points as well. But his plus-minus drastically improved. So that's really good. So shout out to Bogosian. He had an assist goal, 30 assists. That's what it was. So he just missed out on that. But he could get a partial boost because he's got 24. So that's pretty good. And then in his first season, Nikita Tulipov, the old man, 24 points in 82 games, minus 89. Up to a 67, not bad. I didn't give him any goals according to this, unless it was a partial goal, which I don't remember what I gave him, but I think I gave him a partial goal. No, it wasn't face-offs. How was his face-offs? 43.5%. Hopefully that gets better, but obviously we could change him to a left winger like you guys were mentioning. We want to go to left wingers now, so we'll see the rookie in Kolar. 62 points in his rookie season, and he does get the 30 assists that I gave him. He's going to be a good fit on that top line if we leave him as a left winger. 62 points is a really fantastic rookie year. Minus 49 obviously not great, but it's still a drafted glory team after all. And yeah, he looked pretty good. He looked pretty good. So he does achieve that goal, right? Doesn't show it anyways, but whatever. Ooh, Capaduca 29 points and 13 goals. So Jesus Capaduca improved a lot. Last year he only had 12 points. And he only had the 4 goals. Definitely developing better this year. He's up to a 71 as well. I like it. Noonan on 19 points, not bad. 13 goals. Nobody else is ours. Right wing wise, Staubitz still with 76 points. We gave him a long-term deal, and I think that was worth it for sure. 5.8 million. He's finally living up to that expectation. Definitely more of a passer first power forward, which is kind of weird because his goal scoring is pretty low. That was the first time he hit 20 goals in his career. But he does still throw a lot of hits like a power forward. So far, so good with the offense. Timmins on 22 points, 12 goals. So at least he had over 10 goals. And Malkin had 9 goals and 19 points. Perron only 6 points, but he was only a minus 34, which is a lot better than a lot of other guys. So at least he was good defensively. Malkin hasn't been the best player, but he's still a useful guy and a bottom 6 guy. He's up to a 65, though, so he's developing. And then Dean Perron up to a 71. Not bad. Defensively, this should be interesting to see how good Tuzolino did. 45 points in his first full season. That's what I like to see from Bradley. That's what I like to see. And he does, I think he generated all these X Factors, too, because I don't know if he had these when we drafted him. Relentless, Sended, Tape to Tape, Spinorama, and Magnetic. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Last year, I think he was on pace for right around the same amount of points. His plus-minus obviously was much worse, but it would have been a lot worse if he played all 82 games last year. But Tuzolino is definitely a crucial piece to this team right now in terms of the offense. Moreno had 32 points. I like it. I like it. Up to a 76 is a low 4. That's actually impressive. He's actually going to be almost an NHL defenseman as a low 4. I feel like Narena could be a wild card in this series completely. If we get that offensive awareness to climb up in the off seasons and stuff like that, this guy could be a really good offensive defenseman with Tuzolino. Trevelyan had 20 points, didn't hit 20 assists this year, even though I gave them that as a goal. That's the first year he didn't do that. But still a solid year from him. He's up to a 71 still. Bates on 9 points, Parks on 7 points, Pavelski on 7 points. All right. In terms of the goaltending, Shipley had 3 of our shouts, 8, 46, and 4. So he had most of our points, I guess. And then you had the 3 shouts, an 879 save percentage, and a 4.93 goals against for Tommy Shipley. That's actually pretty impressive. Up to a 69 overall. He is improving a lot. After that 1 year in the AHL, he's been getting better in the NHL ever since. A lot better goals against average than last year and save percentage. So I like that. And then Tamlin, 5-19-0, 1 shutout, and an 872 save percentage. He did have the first shutout in franchise history. He's also improving. Yep, better save percentage, better goals against. I like it. So there is our player stats. Let's take a brief look at stats around the league as well. Not too much in depth, but holy crap, the offense. Nathan McKinnon, 147 points. I have to set the medium scoring, I think. So that's pretty crazy. Best goal scorer this season, Austin Matthews with 86 goals. 280 goal scorers, him and Rantanen. You also had Kaprizov on 72. McKinnon on 61. Barkov, Robertson, Kachuk, and Gunther on 50. Damn. It's crazy. Any Selke candidates this season? I'm curious on that. Let's go off of takeaways, I guess, and then look at face-off percentage. Maybe like guys like Jack Hughes, Kirby Dach. I don't know exactly. Who had the most fights for fun? 20 fights for Matthew Olivier. At least they're getting Matthew Olivier to fight more. Because before, I remember when he was set the rarely, it was kind of funny. All right. Defensively, Quinn Hughes, 110 points as a defenseman. That's actually crazy. And Cale Makar, 100 points. The fact that Cale Makar is not even going to get endorsed with 100 points and plus 50 is insane. Because Quinn Hughes was even better. Wow. McAvoy up there, Riley, Fox, etc. Best goaltender this season for wins. Devin Levi with 45 wins in Colorado. I forgot he got dealt there. Most shutouts, Swayman with 7. Dennis Allmark with 6. Best save percentage by a starter is Gabriel Dag with a 917 through 40 games. But the best by an actual starter, Semyon Varlamov in Toronto. Interesting. Best goals against average by a starter, Varlamov. So there's a chance Varlamov has one of Vezina at 39 years old, so that's pretty impressive, if I do say so myself. Any goalie goals this year? No goalie goals. Most assists was Varlamov as well with 6 assists. Damn. All right. Best rookie of the season for points was Matej Kolarz, but I don't know if they're going to give it to him because of that plus-minus. Is Kolarz going to win the Calder over, what's his name, Ethan Belchetz? Belchetz had 36 goals in his rookie season, which is pretty impressive. I mean, he was a plus 10, so I feel like they're going to give it to him or Dumais, just because Kolarz was minus 49. But to me, Kolarz is a rookie of the year because we're a draft glory team. That's why our plus minus sucks. Minus 49 on our team is actually pretty good, so. So there is all of that. Now the question is, who's going to win the Stanley Cup, I guess, this season? And also, where are we going to draft and all that? We don't really know the draft class fully on what it's going to be like, so I'm curious on that. We did look at it, but I'm not too sure on how good it's actually going to be, so that's going to be interesting to take a look at. I don't remember. Did I forget to reassign scouts and stuff like that? I don't remember. I got to double check and make sure I actually... Oh, man. I forgot to assign these 3 scouts. Okay, I have to remember to do that for next season. So if you guys could remind me. I knew I hired 3 more scouts, but I did not assign them to the right leagues and stuff like that. So we might have had leagues that didn't get scouted at all, really. Which is not great, but oh well. It is what it is. Actually, I could probably assign them right now, and then they could at least scout a little bit before the start of the season, right? Or not the start of the season, the start of the playoffs and all that, and the draft. So what do we have right now? 3 WHL, 2 OHL. Probably want to put at least another one in the queue. So let's just put this guy to the queue. That way we have 2 scouts in the queue MJHL. Because obviously it's important we find out as much about this draft as possible. I'm trying to think where else we want to sign. Let's see. We have 3 WHL. That's a lot. I feel like, yeah, one of them must have been another guy I signed. We'll move one of them to USA West. And one to USA, actually not to USA East. One to USA West at least. So we'll move you over to USA West. I should have done this at the start of the season, but I almost completely forgot that I ended up getting some new scouts in the last episode. Alright, so we probably want to still have somebody in Germany, and then also somebody in Switzerland, and then that's all we need to set out. So there you go. You could go to Germany, and we'll get the other one to Switzerland. And then hopefully they actually are able to still scout out before the draft class. If not, so be it. But at least we have it set up now for next season instead of having to try and remember it for the next episode. So there you go. Let's see who ends up winning the Stanley Cup in 2028. But what a year for our team. I am, I'd say, very impressed. Good offense from a lot of guys. And also, the goaltending did a lot better this season than I anticipated. All those shutout wins and all that. So very excited to see what ends up happening with a lot of these guys. Like, I think we're definitely on the right trajectory. It's just all about getting some development, getting a few more good elite players in, and we might end up starting to win 20-plus games. Like, to have over 10 wins this season is a very, very big positive. Especially because we didn't even change our coach yet, I don't think, right? All right, Toronto has won the Stanley Cup in 2028. San Jose wins the Calder Cup. So Toronto winning the Stanley Cup in 2028. Who did they beat in the finals? The Edmonton Oilers made it back to the finals again and lost again. Mitch Marner had the overtime winner. I don't know if that was in a Game 7 scenario or what, but Mitch Marner, the Stanley Cup winning goal from Tavares and Domi. Interesting. What game did it go to that series? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, went to 5 games, so it wasn't a Game 7, but still. A Stanley Cup winning goal in overtime doesn't get much better than that. All right, so we are going to take a look at the award winners now for the season, because this should be interesting to see if we did end up getting that Calder Trophy, because it was definitely a lot better points from Kolar's, but the plus-minus might come into effect. So Toronto wins the Stanley Cup and won the President's Trophy this year. It was an Edmonton-Toronto Cup final, so Edmonton has literally been to so many Cup finals, but they can't win. That's crazy. Poor McDavid. Nathan MacKinnon, the second straight Art Ross of his career. He also wins the Hart again for the second straight year. Quinn Hughes, I didn't even realize he was in Columbus. How did he get to Columbus already? Was he a free agent? I don't think so. I don't know how he got into Columbus. I honestly don't. I thought he was in Vancouver still. How did he get to Columbus? That's kind of strange. Maybe he did have a free agency period and he did sign there. I don't even know. But he wins the Norris anyways. Nathan MacKinnon and Lady Bing. They did give it to Belchatz to Calder. That kind of sucks. I wish the plus-minus wasn't such a big factor in terms of who wins the Calder. But Belchatz was good this season. 30-plus goals. Makes sense that he'd win a Calder. But Kolar's had 60-plus points. So Kolar's would win for us, in my opinion. But Belchatz definitely was good this year as well. No slouch. Matthews won the Conn Smythe. Varlamov won the Vesta. So weird. And the Stanley Cup, too. Devin Levi won the Jennings. And then there's Parks again with his third Bill Masterton trophy. So Parks is building up the trophy case quite a bit. He's definitely not going to be on this team super long term, but he's got 3 Bill Masterton trophies in his name, which is hilarious. Trevelyan won it last year for us, though. Seattle's coach to Jack Adams. Robert Thomas to Selke. Not somebody I was anticipating, but that's kind of interesting. McKinnon the Lindsay, and Austin Matthews the Maurice Richard. AHL-wise, any awards for our Burnaby guys down there? Oh, Fair won an award, best involvement in the community, probably because the team was trash. Last year was Rohan Trainer winning it. All right, so there is the awards. Now comes the question, who is going to win the draft lottery? Obviously, we have the best odds. I honestly don't even remember what's supposed to go first overall, so let's see if we're going to win another lottery or if we're going to fall back again like we tend to do. Come on, boys, let's see. And the results, we have fallen to third, of course. Los Angeles will have number 1. Detroit moves from 9 to 2. And we get the 3rd overall selection in this year's draft. All right. Well, I mean, 3rd is still good, but definitely not as good as number 1, for sure. In terms of retirements, Kopitar and Tavares retired. Those are 2 big retirements for sure. Ryan O'Reilly's retiring. David Perron and Matt Zuccarello. It's kind of funny because a lot of these guys are very young in my roster build that I'm working on, so it's kind of funny to see a lot of them retiring at this stage. And then defensively, we have Chris Letang is the best. Ryan Suter up there. Torrey Krug. All right. Pretty good retirement class for the most part. And Marc-Andre Fleury is retired at 43 years old. So shout out to Fleury. Martin Jones as well. Darcy Kemper, etc. All right. So there is the retirements. Anybody become a coach? Yes. Kopitar is now a coach, and John Tavares as well. It's interesting. I feel like at some point it would be kind of cool if we had a former NHLer become a coach of our Draft to Glory team, but honestly don't know if that will be something we do or not. In terms of coach retirements, we did not lose anybody, so that's good too. Yeah, let's do some draft interviews, potentially, if we don't know anything about this class. We have the 3rd overall selection. Ethan Prust as a left wing, right wing power forward would be nice. There is a center playmaker that's supposed to go first. We're not going to get him or Pacioretty. I think Ethan Prust might fall to us, which is not a bad compensation. It's another power forward, though. So we could change not Stolars. What's his name? What's the frigg's name? Staubitz. I almost thought Stolars for some reason. Staubitz. We could change Staubitz over to a different player type, maybe. And then Prust would be our 2nd power forward only. But if we brought in Prust, we'd have 3 power forwards. We could also go for a high top 6, but I don't think these guys generate enough growth. He is a playmaker, so nice setup guy in Kennens. There's also a left wing playmaker that basically could replace Kolar's on that top line. And then Kolar's could become the 2nd line center if we want to move him to a center spot. But Cade Del Monte, another playmaker. You also do have a defenseman, a DFD in Per Gustafsson. We do need more defensive help, but do we want to get rid of guys like Trevelyan and Spike Parks for that matter? So Per Gustafsson's 1 year out, but he is a right D that also plays on the left side, so he's kind of useful. There's also Grant Brunette too, who might be elite. Probably not. He could be a top 4 though. I honestly don't know what I would go with our selection. Like, Prust is really nice, but we would probably have to change Staubitz's player type. Kennens would be good, but he doesn't have the highest potential. Del Monte is kind of what we just got last year's draft, and then Gustafsson's just a DFD. And medium elite DFDs, they sometimes simulate good, but they're usually kind of guys that take a lot of money, so I don't really know if that's what I want to get. He would be nice to put next to our offensive defenseman, but since he's right-handed shot, it wouldn't really work. But he can play the left side too, so maybe he's a good complementary player to put next to Tuzolino, but hard to know. Is there any low elites that we could pin for this year's draft? Wow, medium elite's supposed to go 15th overall. Tommy Typalus, that's actually kind of insane. He's 3 years out, but he is a guaranteed medium elite. Vastianov could be elite too. Vitin, ooh, guaranteed almost medium elite DFD gem. I don't think he's medium elite. I don't really know. We could interview him to guarantee him. Let's just pin him for the time being, and then I might do an interview with him. Semenov could be an elite goalie prospect as well. Alright, is there any low elites though that are guaranteed? Because I do like myself some low elites. There is one. Ilya Bure, 19 years old, left wing playmaker. Looks like a gem apparently too, so he's definitely going to be one of our late round selections, even though he's already 19. Caden Slater, don't know about him too much, but he could be a little elite. Adamski could be a little elite. Another gem there. This guy could be a little elite. And Bill Camilleri, we'll pin him too since he's a gem. This could end up being a pretty good draft class for us. Ooh, a lot of gems actually for that matter. Dylan Love as well is a gem, so we'll pin him. He is a low 4 guaranteed though. Fern starter gem in Steve Shattenkirk. We'll pin him just because he's a gem. And same with Weston Erskine, who's also a gem. Alright. What I do want to take a look at, though, is talking to Viitanen, because I think he would be a great second-round selection. He is a DFD. He could be elite. He could be a top 4. But I do want to interview him. just to see if we could get that potential guaranteed. Let's find out his greatest strength and his greatest weakness. His greatest strength is his shot. That's interesting for a DFD. Most of the time you wouldn't expect that. Biggest weakness is his, what is it? What does it say? His head more. I don't know. Maybe that's his awareness. I don't even know exactly. New topic. Let's see. We know your playstyle. Let's just ask you about your personality. Try and, like I said, lock in that potential. He's a professional and gets along with everyone. That's good to see. So there is Tero Viitanen. Do we have a guarantee that he's a medium elite now? No, we do not. I still might probably take a chance with him in the 3rd round. He might go or late 2nd round though too. Actually, no, he wouldn't go 2nd round. He'd go 3rd round for sure. Yeah, we could definitely get Viitanen in the 3rd round. But there's also some other good late round steals, which looks good. Yeah, I think this is going to be a good draft for us. Definitely a lot better depth to it than prior years. I just really don't know who we take with our first selection still. I'm leaning towards Preston and trying to get Stubwitz to change over to like a playmaker or something, but he does throw a lot of hits, so he might not want to change. So, there we go. That's the only interview I'm going to do. All right. Final things we got to do to wrap up this episode. Take a look at the progress reports and the contract situation. Let's actually take a look at the contracts first. Who is up for renewal this offseason? I forget. Ristolainen's the big one. He is the big one. We do actually have a lot of RFAs that are important to the future of this team. So, Ristolainen, what are you looking for? A lot of money. Not a surprise. And you're not really wanting 8 years at the moment, but you do want a 5-year deal. That's not too bad. We should be able to get Ristolainen locked up for sure. Narena's up to a 77 as a low 4. I'm really liking the way that these guys are growing. Really liking it. He's listed as actually as a depth defenseman now too. If we get that offensive awareness, like I said, really high, his passing's already really good, so he could simulate really well. Like, he has been pretty consistent so far. What is he trying to get at this stage? He's trying to get over $1 million. 8 years, he's not trying to get too much, so he might not generate a lot of growth, but you never know. Bogosian and such like that should be just 2 ways, right? Yeah, thought so. So there's only a couple of guys that are going to be expensive, but we do have to bring a lot of them back. And then Dalcoli, who's been in the minors the last few years. Actually, how was he last season? Worse than last year. Interesting. He could be back in the NHL as well soon, so we definitely have to make a decision with our goaltending going forward because Shipley and Dalcoli could be the pairing next season. Tamerlan might be back in the AHL, which is not something I like to do for you guys, but might have to happen. What about our unsigned prospects? Did we get any crazy... Oh, nah, Gardner's still only a 51. He was only a 49 or 48 when we drafted him, but I was hoping for more growth from this guy. But he's not AHL eligible. All he's up to is 62, okay? And finally, the progress reports. Did we get any good growth from guys in the AHL or on our NHL roster for that matter? So, starting off with Ristolainen, he went up only by 3. A lot of it's natural, so no statistical growth, which is good. Bogosian, a lot of statistical growth, but also a lot of natural growth, so that's nice. Tulipov up to a 69. He also got a lot of natural growth, some statistical too, though. Left wing side of things, Kolarz is already up to an 85. A lot of statistical growth from him, though, but he also did get a nice growth in his shooting department. Defensive awareness, his skating's gotten much better. So Kolarz is improving a lot. How's his face-offs looking, actually? Still a 76. Okay. Kapaduka. Actually, I didn't take a look at Tulipov's face-offs. Did his face-offs improve? No, it did not. I was hoping it would, but it didn't. But Kapaduka went up only by a couple points. Kind of a mixed bag. Noonan, not that much growth, but a lot of statistical. We head to the right wing side of things. Stubwitz up to an 88. Is this a lot of natural? A lot of statistical. Yeah, he's still statistically up there, which makes me think he's a lot worse than he's actually looking, which is kind of not great. Perron up to a 71 as well, as a low 6 now. A lot of these guys are kind of growing interestingly. He's got a lot of natural growth, no statistical. Like it. Timmins up to a 69 as well. Yeah, we're starting to get growth from a lot of random guys on the team, so I'm really impressed. There's going to be a lot of internal competition for ice time. Defensively, Tuizolino's up to an 88 already too. And his is mostly natural growth. I love to see that. Tuizolino is going to be very expensive, though, when his ELC comes to an end. Narena, let's see, his mostly statistical, but there is some natural growth, his offensive awareness and stuff, because of achieving his goals, I think, probably, and his passing, too. Trevelyan is still only a 70, so Trevelyan might be capping out around that point, so he might get replaced at some point. We also do have Stanley Bates, who actually got a lot of growth and a lot of natural out of that. Damn, all right. He's also low 4 too, so maybe like Narena, he'll outgrow his potential a bit. And then Spike Parks, who's won 3 awards, is still only a 68, but he is a 3-time Bill Masterton winner. So I do like holding on to Spike Parks for the memes, but at the same time, he might actually get pushed out of the lineup soon. And then goaltending, Shipley up by 6 points, Dalcoli up by 10. All right. And in the system, Tamlin up by 3, Thorne up by 13, Ollie, who's unsigned, up by 16. Pavelski up by only 3. Yeah. David up by 3 points. Trainer up by 16. Whitfield up by 24. That's pretty impressive. So Andrew Whitfield got a lot of growth. He actually had a really solid year in the AHL. 44 points as an offensive defenseman. So maybe this guy will make the NHL at some point. A lot of natural growth too. So really like that. Vulcan up to a 62. Fair up to a 57. And Gardner, who's unsigned, actually went up by 10 points apparently. All natural growth. His offensive awareness is pretty low for an OFD though. So I don't know if he's going to become much of anything. But hopefully he does. And we had one forward to take a look at, which was Zetterberg. Up to a 54. He actually had a pretty good year, too. 17 goals and 31 points in the AHL. That's pretty good for what his overall is. Only up by 3 overall points, but he did get a lot of natural growth, too. So, shout out to our system for developing a little bit this year. And our NHL team, of course. All right, so that is that. And I think that's going to do it, guys, for this episode of our Albuquerque Aliens Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, once again, we'll take it to another draft. We'll draft some more players to continue filling out a roster, but this team is definitely going in the right way. We're starting to win more games. Our players are developing. Obviously, we just need more depth to our build, in a sense, to become a playoff team and a better coach probably too. But I have been impressed with this team so far in this franchise mode. Like, I wasn't expecting all those shutouts this season. So let me know down below. And I'll see you guys next time.